Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Success Scopes. This is episode 74, and we're going to be talking about fingerprints and bestsellers. So, welcome again. I know, oh, there's Cindy. She's coming in first today. Hi, Cindy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all your support in the last 24 hours. There's Danielle coming in. All we need is Carolyn Farron to pop up next. I think she probably will. For those who don't know me, if this is your first time watching, my name is Carolyn R. Owens, and I'm the chairwoman and CEO of Infinity Coaching Incorporated, where we help you up-level your skills so you can up-level your career, your business, or your life. And we're here every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays normally at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, and on Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And I see Carolyn Farron has just joined us. So we have Danielle of Pulp Consulting, too. That's how you find her on Twitter. We have Cindy, our nurse that's here with us, and Carolyn Farron, you guys know, is my mom, and Cindy's actually my sister. But there are three people who you know. Once they're here, we can get started. Thanks, guys, for being here. So again, like I said, I'm Carolyn R. Owens, and this is episode 74 of our Scopes. And I know I'm normally here on Thursdays, and I really tried to be here, but I told you guys that yesterday I had to be at my son's school. And little did I know, while I had to be in a meeting, he had a performance last night in orchestra. So you can imagine the last minute getting the uniform ready and everything he needed, and then having to get ready and get there because he had to be there earlier than the meeting time started. But I didn't even get this, like one of the first performances, I didn't get to hear them play. And it was a combination of the high school, the elementary school, and the middle school in the county all playing together. So unfortunately, I missed that to hear him and his friends play. And he's been playing in the orchestra now for, about 5-6 years. And he'll play every year till he graduates from high school, so it's pretty cool. I told him when I'm old and sickly, he's got to do two things for me. He's got to read to me, and he's got to play the violin. So, so that's why I wasn't here last night, that I was at the meeting at the school. And I haven't shared much about what had been going on at the school, why we've had these meetings there and stuff. But after last night's meeting, it's a lot of stuff that I'd love to share with you guys that's been happening. Actually, a lot of what happened had made it actually in the news. I don't know if it made national news, but it made the local news. But I will be sharing that sometime next week to give you guys some feedback and information on just how it plays. Like I always talk about Real Talk on Thursdays and that real life application and what came up for those meetings. And it's definitely stuff I think people should know. So it was a good opportunity to go to school. And I tell, thank you, Diana. Thank you for being here. I'm going to talk about that. But we were going through with the school. I think it's one of those things about informed community. Different things that I told you, I think later last year, we were talking about things that are coming forward and how we respond and taking on personal responsibility. So definitely be a topic we want to talk about. But okay, the first thing I had said I wanted to talk about today was this fingerprints. And you're like, what is a career strategist, leadership, and life coach talking about fingerprints? Well, this is just one of those little, things that come up. I think it was on Good Morning America. I'm not sure where I saw it. But whenever I know there's a lot of things that I'll hear about, or I try to really stay informed, I try to share with people that a lot of times people don't hear or they don't see. And what it is, this is more of that security safety thing. And you know how a lot of times when you're taking pictures, your kids do it a lot, and I know there's a lot of adults do it, especially from my generation, where you would take pictures and you throw up a peace sign or deuces, or you have those two fingers up. And if you hold it to where your fingerprint, oh yes, if you hold it with your when you're holding your fingers up, if you hold it where your fingerprint is facing out to the camera, what's been happening is these guys are really good. They can zoom in on your fingerprint and actually use your fingerprint and trace it to get security information. It's technology today and what people are capable of doing it, but so many people have been doing that. But with the way the photos are taken these days, with the way that people can hack into things and do different things. You don't think about something as simple as you're taking this picture and throwing up your, deuces, peace sign, whatever you want to call it. And that's what they do. If you have your fingertips showing, they literally zoom in and can copy that fingerprint and get access to information. And so that's just something like that tidbit to throw out there to think about. I'm very big on sharing little tidbits and information on social media when I hear it, when I come across it. But it was pretty neat to have when they were showing it and talking about how it's done. I mean, you got to give them, they're really smart trying to figure out technology that they can do that with and figure it out. But I think, as we develop technology that moves us forward and different things we can do, there's also the opposite side where people, with good, there's the other side where they're going to use it to create some ways to do different things, get more information. So just like you have the smart technology that's helping us move forward, you got the smart technology that can pull us back in security, safety, stuff like that. So I just wanted to share that piece with you about fingerprints and something to think about, because how many times when you see your kids and different people doing that in the photos. So just something to think about. And so the second part of today is about bestsellers. And you guys know I talked to you Monday that on Thursday was going to be the book launch for my first book. I have a copy here. It was my first book, Your Amazing Itty Bitty Heading Home book, 15 Steps to a Successful Military Transition. That's the first one I put out, and you can see there. See my little picture on the back? I actually have my ISBN number there. And so Thursday was the actual bestseller launch for the book, and it's an Amazon bestseller campaign where the goal is within that 24-hour period to reach #1 on Amazon in book sales in different categories that you select. And so that was something that the publisher is Itty Bitty Publishing. And that's one of the things that they push to do with all of their authors, is to encourage them to do that initial launch, that bestseller campaign. And so mine was February 9th is when we were doing it. And so what happens, I mean, you literally, for me being on the East Coast and the publisher is actually on the West Coast, we started at midnight, 12:01 a.m. Thursday morning, because of course, for me as an entrepreneur, I'm up, I'm still doing things, and then I have a lot of colleagues and friends that were up and saying, hey, when is the link going to be, able to use? And so we put it out there, and we're, I'm engaging on social media, putting it out there, talking about the book and aspects of why I wrote it, different things that I was sharing. And by about 5 o'clock, it was at #2. #2 and #3 in 2 different categories. But that's when, if you guys remember, that's when I had to leave. I had to go to the school, which, for me, hey, a book or any priorities are never going to be more important than what's going on with my son. God first, my son next, and then everything else. And so I knew there was something I had wanted to be at. And once I started telling you guys about what has been happening at the school, you'll understand a little bit more why I had to be there. And so I kind of stopped the engagement. I stopped a lot of the interaction. I had some stuff going on Twitter still. I had some stuff going on Instagram. But I kind of stopped some of the interaction and engagement for, a period of about 4 hours that I wasn't really active. It was actually a little longer than that. It was almost like 5 hours where it was kind of dead kind of time for me, not engaging and not being active, because especially in the school, the internet access is terrible. So I wasn't able to be active. I wasn't able to sustain engaging and doing the things that I've been doing all throughout the day. So when I got back home, it was still steady at #2, but one had dropped to #3, and it was staying that way. And it was kind of hard to get that momentum back up, where although I'm still engaging, there are a couple people who aren't still as involved because of the time lapse and different things. You hadn't been hearing a lot from me and different things. And so it was staying at #2, staying at #3, but then it got to #2 and 2, both categories, and it was staying there, and staying there. And it was at a point where it's like, you know what, okay, so it's like 1 o'clock in the morning here, Eastern time. It was ending at 12, but the link was still being active. And the way the bestseller campaign works, for that day, the book is only 99 cents in the Kindle version. And that's when people can just hop on and get it. That's again, the goal is to get the #1 sales. And it could be a couple hundred books that you're selling within that 24-hour period. And so like I said, I was at #2, which isn't really bad when you think about the number of books that had to be sold. But for me, of course, I'm thinking, gosh, I wouldn't, I really wanted to make #1. So at that point, I, posted on social media, hey, thanking everybody for the support that they had given me. My sister Cindy, my mom, Carolyn Farron, Danielle Pope, who's on here. Danielle Pope actually set up an event on Facebook for the launch of the book. And that's where a lot of the engagement was taking place, a lot of the interaction, where people were invited to be able to learn. And that event page was boosted when she set it up, so we could see a lot of that going on. So we had the event page going that Danielle, who's watching here today, had put on, Danielle Pope, and she's at Pope Consulting too. And I'll give her a shout out. She does a lot of the virtual assistance, the VA stuff, where she can help you with your editing, your newsletters, your invoicing, a lot of different things within your business that she helps you with. So if you're here on Twitter, connect with her, follow her at Pope Consulting too. I also had Chela Diaz, who I call the Woman of Wealth, who helps you with money management. That is her definitely her specialty of expertise. But she was there too, and she's on the West Coast. And between them, along with Carol Taylor, who is the author of Find Your Federal Fit, I believe it is. She's a federal career coach and does a lot of workshops, as well as I think it's GDCF course that she facilitates. But they were also there helping, supporting it, and getting a lot of the word out. And so at that point, I thanked them, all on social media, and said, hey, I'm closing out at number 2 in the 2 categories. But I really appreciate the time that people took to really, just buy the book, to give the shout outs, to really communicate about the book and why, it was important to have such a book when you're going through that military transition. There's a lot of things that are left out, but a lot of the information here in the book it applies for any type of career transition. So the information is pretty valuable that's in here. And the itty bitty books are only 32, 33 pages. You can actually read them in about 45 minutes. And they focus on particular areas. We have one on parenting. We have one on sexuality for seniors. We have QuickBooks is one. We have one on sales. We have on weight loss. All different types. I think there's last time I counted, there's 20 books that have already been published in this series, the itty bitty books. And they also have it's a total of about 90 authors that are under contract who have produced books. So you think if only 20 are out, there's about 70 more to go that will be producing these books over the next year or two. So it's just similar to this dummy series, but to me, if you can see how compact and small, size the book it is, but it also contains a whole host of information. And it doesn't have the fluff of a book. It's going to give you resources, it gives you steps and information that you can follow. And for this, like I said, for this one, this is all about a military transition and some things that people need to think about during that time. What are some of the links you need to look at? Setting up your LinkedIn profile, your resume, just different tips and things in here. But I was, basically, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm saying, okay, I'm going to bed, appreciating everybody. But, of course, during that time, you kind of struggle a little bit, and you're thinking, what didn't I do right? What could have happened differently? What could the publisher have been done differently? Those people that I've supported in the past who weren't there supporting me, pushing this for this campaign. So I'm going through all these different things in my head. I was like really kind of getting kind of sad for a moment, kind of upset about thinking, okay, what's going on here? But fortunately, over the past couple of days, I had started reading this book. And you guys know, you've heard me talk about him before, but Grant Cardone, his book, The 10X Rule. And so I've been reading a lot of books, and I'm the type of person who reads 3 or 4 books at the same time. But when you look at this one, I've just started reading, and I was on a section literally like a day before this launch, which is about assume control for everything. That's the title of that particular section. And what it's about, don't make excuses, no matter what the outcome. And you guys know I talk about don't make excuses. But this was telling me, regardless of the outcome, that, hey, I didn't reach number 1, but don't look at, externally, what did somebody else do? What did I do? Don't continuously make these excuses. Accept it, assume control of the situation, and move forward. If there's something I need to do next time, how am I going to keep getting the word about the book out? What is my next move? What am I going to write next? What am I going to do? I should be looking forward instead of stagnating myself thinking, what the heck, why didn't I make number 1? Oh, woe is me. All right, I didn't. Now let's move forward. So I went there thinking, okay, no excuses, Carolyn. Handle your business, move forward, take action, hustle, keep going. There was a lot of momentum around the book. Veterans organizations were looking at it. So what's the big wins here? And I actually typed up a list of all the big wins that I got out of this beyond just being the #1 Amazon bestseller. And so I prayed about it. I definitely, I called my sisters on here, and I feel like everybody, the people that I named that were really supporting me, they had their particular role in the process. And my sister, she was like the prayer warrior to me, constantly saying, hey, I'm praying about it, I'm praying about it. And so that's the last thing I did. I prayed about it. I focused on what this section in this book was telling me about no excuses and all the things that I teach and preach about excuses. Like, you know, I could sit here and stagnate and think about, wow, I didn't make #1, and get upset and be all mad about thinking what everybody else could have done or what I could have done. But then I will prevent myself from moving forward if I allow myself to stay stuck because I didn't make #1 as the Amazon bestseller. Okay, but you know, and I didn't want to be that person. You know, I didn't want to be that woman that gets caught up and stuck over something like that. And so it was fortunate that I had just read this section just days before this launch. And I didn't realize how much it had prepared me for whatever outcome it could be. And so it was cool. So I went to bed in a very peaceful place, very happy pace, all prayed up. And then my son gets up real early for school, and I, of course, do the wrong, you know, a lot of people say don't check your email first thing in the morning, but I do check my messages and kind of just skim through the email in case it's something important. And I had an email from the publisher saying, yay, you actually made #1. It was at 4:30 in the morning Easter time that she sent it. So it was 1:30 on the West Coast that I actually did make #1. And so I immediately texted my sister, who gets up at 4:30, and was able to say, hey, guess what? You know, prayers answered, I made it, but I had also adapted that mindset of take full responsibility and no excuses and think about what's next. So I was very, very happy, feeling blessed and grateful that I made it, but also in the lessons that come with it about, you know, reminding myself about needing to always, always assume responsibility. Thank you, Cindy. But being able to always assume responsibility in how we're moving forward towards something. It is great to be able to say that I am an Amazon bestseller. And even though it was #1 sometimes for quite a few hours, because you know it fluctuates. But once you make #1, you can say, hey, I am an Amazon bestseller. But I've been fortunate that I've been staying real close to #2 all day. That it hasn't dropped. Like a lot of books will hit #1, you know, for some time, and then they drop down significantly. But I've been staying there at #2, and I'm grateful for that. That I spent my glory moment at #1, but I also learned a lot about how to run a successful bestseller campaign, what needs to be done, what I would need to do differently. That whole 5-hour gap that I wasn't present made a difference. It really did. And so the timing of things and how you do things, but then again, I have to assume responsibility. No excuses. No, you know, call yourself on it. Call yourself on the BS, and don't let it happen. So I look forward to seeing what else this book is going to bring for me. Like I said, but timing is everything. And it was a perfect time that this chapter was in front of me, and I had just read it. So I was really powered up for any outcome. And it just strengthened me to be able to move forward for what's next. And I do have, you know, as I said, this is going to be a great year. It's about achieving goals, and it's about having fun. And while I was engaging on social media and doing different things, because of the high interaction, my SEO optimization, different things, people were seeing me that hadn't seen me in a while. Someone I hadn't heard from in months said, hey, I saw your face and stuff pop up. What's going on today? What's up? And I got to communicate with them and see what they were doing. I'm going to actually interview them in a couple weeks on my radio show. If you guys don't hear that, I do Let's Coach. I host an internet radio show on Blog Talk Radio. And if you just look in Let's Coach, if you go to Blog Talk and search Let's Coach, you'll be able to see all the episodes that we've done. And I'll just put a side note in here that February is all about romance and relationships. And so we've had two very good interviews. One was about how to get the guy, and the other one was now that you had him, how do you keep him? So you guys can look in there and see those episodes. Check those out. But we'll keep doing we have two more romance and relationship ones coming up, and you'll definitely want to check next week's out. So thanks for sharing, Cindy, and I saw Carolyn Farron. Thanks so much for sharing as well. But just that side note, if you guys want to catch it there. But I was, the engagement and everything else, that just the interaction there and what it did for raising my SEO optimization, that people were able to find me, and people will see the articles and posts and different things that are coming up around the book. And so that's great by itself. That's a big win. So sometimes if you don't always get the results you want, you got to dig a little deeper and see what's the win. What's the lesson you learned? What can you take away from this, or what do you need to shift? But again, don't place blame. Don't make excuses. Assume control and assume responsibility, personal responsibility. Again, I'm so excited that I can say that I am an Amazon best-selling author. I'm very happy to say that. If you guys want to see the book or find out more, the book is it's available. The Kindle version now is just $2.99. The actual copies will be available hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I've got to prove a final version. There was one mix up with the printing of it, and so my copy should be here any day, and then it'll be on Amazon in the actual book form right after that. But I'm going to let some people who wanted the book version versus the Kindle version, I'll be letting them know that it's out. And then you can either email me for a copy, or you can go to Amazon and pick it up there. So if you guys have Amazon Prime, that'll be a great place to get it. My email address is cowens@infinitycoaching.net. You can always visit my website to find out more about me, what I do, about the inner circle that you guys hear me talking about, and that's infinitycoaching.net. I guess I'll have to update my website and actually put the link to the book there. If you want to get the copy of a book, though, you can go to infinitycoaching.net heading home book. I had it printed out. I'm not sure. I've been moving stuff on my desk, but it's infinitycoaching.net/heading home book, and you can get it there. So I thank everybody who did support me in the bestseller campaign. I know it was in the Twitter feed yesterday. I talked about it on Periscope. So I thank you guys so much who supported me. And I will be back here Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. I've got a lot of topics to share with you guys about leadership, about career strategies and transitions. And I told you guys I would share with you who am I following in 2017 that's keeping me pumped up, that's keeping me motivated. And you guys remember my theme word for the year. It's all about fun. We're going to have fun with this. And that's why I made yesterday a fun day. Like I said, I had that slight moment thinking, but after that, once I got that, momentum and that energy back, life is really good, guys. So, and you see, and then, the steadfast commitment in the end was rewarded by me being able to stay and make it to that #1 spot. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you're listening live, if you're listening to the replay, and if there's something of value that comes out of this for you, share it. Don't hold that information to yourself. Share it. Bless somebody with anything that you learn. And again, reach out to me, cowens@infinitycoaching.net, with any questions, feedback, ideas, suggestions that you would that you have for me. So I want you all to have a fabulous, wonderful, awesome, fun, and blessed weekend. And so I will see you back Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern. And until next time, here's to your success. See you, and thanks again for all your support. I appreciate you. Bye.